Hey y'all, I'm back with part 7. So let's get into it. I did ask Gerald last night. I was like, when you went to San Antonio, what was that for? Was that a bachelor party? He was like, no, that was just like a guy's get together. I was like, oh, okay. So it wasn't a bachelor party. So he goes on this guy's trip. And while he's at the guy's trip, I decide to have some friends over from work. And Gerald's going to be home about, I guess, on Sunday evening. He left Friday and was going to return back on Sunday evening. So Sunday rolls around, and about 6:30 or in between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. he walks in the door, eyes bloodshot. My friends are at the house and they're like, I think it's time for us to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because we were all in the living room. We got up early. Anyways, so they left. My heart was pounding because he wasn't expected home till that evening. And he walks in like really early that morning. Eyes bloodshot, like he's been crying. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I have so much to tell you. And I was like, not again. Not again. What? What do you have to tell me now? Well, he is tearful and he's like, I've really messed up. I've really messed up this time. I was like, what have you done, Gerald? What's going on? Just give it to me straight. And he said, well, the trip, yes, I was in San Antonio, and yes, I was with some of the friends that I told you I was with, but the trip was actually because Travis was coming back into town and wanted to hang out. And I was like, you left that part out because you knew that I probably would not want you to go with Travis because you don't make good decisions with him. I was like, okay, what decisions did you make this time? He was like, well, we did a lot of drugs, drank a lot, went to strip clubs, went clubbing. And I was like, lots of drugs? What kind of drugs? He tells me pills, does some coke again, and goes out and clubbing. And I'm just sitting here, tears streaming down my face because I'm just like, who the hell did I marry? I'm a little angry at God at this point because I'm like, you told me to marry this man and I trust you. I have so much faith, right? Like, my faith does not waver. When God tells me to do something, I do it. And I am sitting here doubting. I'm like, we've been married a year and a half and I'm already going to have to get divorced. And I was like, did you wear your wedding ring? And he looks at me. He looks down and then he looks at me and he goes, no. I took it off when I got there and put it in my bathroom bag. I said, so you went out as if I didn't even exist. And I truly think that is the part that, like, really hurt me the most. And then he proceeded to tell me that he had a one-night stand. And y'all, my world fell apart. I could not believe what was coming out of his mouth. And I thought we were doing so good. I thought he was doing so well. But, silly me, naive of me to think that he was just doing fine all of a sudden, And we weren't in a church or anything. So I don't know why I trusted and believed that, but I did. And sadly, he went on this weekend and did those things. And I was crying so hard. He was telling me, I'm never going to drink again. I'm never going to do any drugs again. I'm never going to go out again without you. I don't want to live this life. This is not the life I want. And I'm like, okay, I don't believe you. So I grabbed my keys And I leave the house, and as I'm putting my car keys into the door, I think to myself, I don't need to be driving. I will drive this car off a bridge right now. My whole world is upside down. We had literally just built our house together, our first home, and then my whole world was crashing down around me. So instead of driving off, I went to a vacant house across the street that was still in the process of being built. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was screaming. I was angry. I was talking to God. I was just like, I cannot believe my life is over. I'm so embarrassed. And I said, God, you told me to marry this man, and now my marriage is over. And I mean, ugly crying, black mascara. And I heard the audible voice of God for the one and only time in my life that I heard it. And he said, it's the beginning. And I turned around because I literally thought like a construction worker was in there. I was ready to like kung fu fight. But when I turned around, I did not see a construction worker. I saw my husband in our driveway sobbing, looking for me. Then he gets on his knees and he starts praying. I've never seen him pray before, like ever in my life. And all of a sudden, I felt this peace wash over me. And I genuinely felt the presence of God in that vacant house as I'm staring at my husband, who I've never in my life seen pray before, praying on his knees, sobbing, calling out to God, bring her home. Bring her home, I'm going to change. So I walk across the street. I'm crying. He's crying. I'm crying right now because God is so powerful and he's so good. And there is not anything that he cannot do. And we walk over and I follow him into the house. And we have a really long conversation about how he wants to change. And that he's so sorry that he did this to me. And that he's never going to drink or do drugs again. Like, that lifestyle is over. And I believed him. I didn't believe him when he was telling me that earlier. But I think it was because I had literally heard the audible voice of God. And then the peace that I felt. I could just see a complete heart change in him. Like and follow for part 8.